This is a crime?
Don't make me answer that.
When was the crime scene?
When you showed up here, crowding me.
How have the guys bounced back since Saturday?
You know, that was obviously painful. You know, I mean, anytime you don't get it done, it is extremely painful. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. I mean, guys, players and coaches in the business, they know what it feels like, but it's hard. But we have had a good week. You know, we got a unique team coming in here, and so that presents some challenges, but they've worked hard, and you know, it was a good spirited week.
What would people close to you say you're like after a game like that?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I work really, really hard to just learn from things, and it's, you know, my job to set the tone with these kids, and you know that's when you know, the coaches and leadership and all those, that's the senior leadership, the leadership on the team, that's when it matters. I mean, it's easy to do things when things are all going well, but when it's not, I mean, you just stick to the process, and that doesn't mean we're not learning, tweaking as we go, but we just got to keep working.
What were maybe the biggest takeaways for you? If you did learn something from that game, what was that?
You know, I think in a lot of ways we still have some young type players learning what we're doing, and so it's not a matter of like, you know, it always to me comes down to fundamental football, you know, fundamentals and techniques, and we just got to keep getting better at those things in terms of tackling, getting off blocks, covering guys, you know, thinking better on the field in critical situations. You know, that's what it's all about. And so, like I said, we played a lot of good football. We didn't play it good enough at the most critical times.
How difficult is it to simulate Hawaii in terms of their offense with your scout team?
You know what? It is different, and their defense is different as well. But those kids that ran the scout team this week, I mean, we just had them out there, and we practiced a little extra with those guys on Thursday, and they, you know, I really was so proud of them and complimented them. I mean, they gave about as good an effort and realistic look as you can get in a short period of time. You're never going to be able to simulate the speed of the game and exactly what they're doing when they're route adjusting and all those type of things, but they gave a good look. They really did.
What's different about their defense?
Structurally, you know, like I said earlier, they play with 3 safeties. It's a little unorthodox sometimes how they line up, and it's just not something that we see, you know, day in and day out. And even maybe the structure we haven't seen in the Pac-12.
Jimmy said Tuesday the offense reminds him of like the 80s Oilers run and shoot back in the day with Warren Moon. Is that the comparison you'd make, and have you seen anything like this before?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen it many, many years when I was at Boise and June Jones was at Hawaii. So that's what it reminds me of. You know, Nick Rolovich done a great job of bringing back, you know, staying true to his roots, and I always thought that was a really good system for those guys. You know, they get guys that can block well, big dudes over there, and then recruit speed, and it always worked for them, and that's what they're doing now, and it's good.
You faced Rolovich, I think, when he was at Nevada, right, as the OC for a couple years down there. How much has his system changed at all since then?
It's different.
Yeah,
it's different. He was running a different style, and I think, you know, when he became a head coach, and maybe after a year of doing it, I think he kind of said, I need to do what he really wants to do and what's in his heart.
Has he always been this wacky? I don't know if you follow him on Twitter or not, but he's kind of a nut job on social media.
I don't follow anybody that's not 18 to 22, so I don't know what he does. I really like him. I think he does a great job. You know, a lot of respect for him and his crew.
Chris, is there any reason, as prolific as the run and shoot was, especially with guys like Miles Davis and some of those back in the day, do you have a theory as to maybe why that kind of fell out of favor a little bit? Was it just defenses catching up, or?
That's a great question. Like I said, it was really effective in Hawaii, and June was he was one of the mastermind, Miles Davis back in the day. You know, they were quite a team together, and you know, they did a great job with it. And I don't know if they were just the guys that had the nuances of it, you know, and nobody stuck to it like they did. You're seeing maybe a little bit more, you know, the air raid, run and shoot. There's some similarities there. Now, I think each side would tell you there's significant differences, what I think there are, but there's some similarities, and I think you're starting to see more of that.
Chris, you mentioned some young players out there. Are you seeing more of that on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball?
In terms of
your guys?
yeah, I mean, when you lose whatever it is, 9 out of 11 starters, or I mean, that's a lot of guys to replace. So there's youth out there, even if it's guys that have played, they haven't been in that spotlight role, and so it takes a minute to keep growing guys.
What should Kyler have done differently, looking back on that PI call in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, we just got to be just a touch more clean in our technique. I mean, we got to play aggressive if we're going to play like that. But I'm not sure what the official saw. I mean, we don't have his vantage, but he saw something, and it is what it is. And so we're working hard on cleaning up our techniques.
Maybe with the tight end position, you look at guys like Hunter Bryant, where he's a lot different than maybe most of the guys in the room. Have you seen a transition in that at the tight end position in terms of how the position has evolved overall?
No, I mean, we've always liked tight ends, and we play to their strengths, and we kind of mix and match the groups always. You kind of got some H-type guys that are more receiver movement guys that can get downfield, and then you like to have a couple true Y-type guys that block a little bit more stout, and we kind of mix and match. But like I said, we like the tight end here for sure.
Hawaii's already got 2 wins over Pac-12 schools, Oregon State, Arizona. It feels like the gap between the Group of 5 and Power 5 is shrinking every single year, and I wonder if you kind of feel like that too.
I think, parity in football in general, like whatever, however you want to categorize. I mean, there's a lot of good coaches out there. I think there's a lot of really good players that sometimes, I don't want to even say get overlooked, but are not ranked. That's the thing with recruiting rank. There's just a lot of good players out there that are coached up. And then if you have like a mature group that's juniors and seniors, I mean, that's what you like to see on your roster. And to keep that balance and there's no substitute for experience in your system. And I think that creates a lot of parity.
Do you think that with quick access to information nowadays, as opposed to maybe even like 5-10 years ago, that's really helped the teams in the groups of 5 and below in recruiting to find maybe some of those diamonds in the rough?
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. And not only that, but just the information that's out there that you can see in football and studying football, and the combination of all those things. I mean, the other guys on the other side got good coaches too. I mean, they're not going to be there if they're not good coaches. I don't care anybody that's on our schedule that we play; they are good coaches. And then you couple that with guys that you're talking about that are, whatever. I don't know if they're under the radar to us because we know a lot of these guys we play against, that we've looked hard at them, and so there's just a lot of parity.
I was curious also with some roster changes, what have you. Have any of the walk-ons been offered or been given scholarships?
No, not at this point.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday? By
No,
chance?
I did not see one snap. What's your?
I'm curious if you thought Kellen Moore would
ascend
to the point of being an NFL offensive coordinator at some point.
Well, he's going to be a head coach here. I mean, that's how it works in the NFL. Right? You're good, and you're like under 30. You're getting a job fast. But no, we knew all along. And in fact, back in the day when he came to us, we had a bunch of younger coaches. And he wanted to, he knew he wanted, his dad's a coach, and he knew he wanted to coach, his brother wanted to coach, and that was one of the reasons that he came, to Boise back in the day. And so, for him to play the NFL card for a few seasons and, see what that's all like. There's nobody that's around Kellen that knows him, knew him in high school, that is surprised that he's coaching well at that level.
Did he, obviously he's a quarterback, but could you tell that he kind of had the mind to be a good play caller, to be a guy who could run the show like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's certain guys you're around that really understand the game. He understood it as a high school guy coming in because of the system that they run with his dad. And so he had a great head start. And I'd never been around anybody at that time that had prepared like him. When he redshirted his first year there, it blew me away how he was in meetings. He didn't say a word. He's not a talkative guy, really. But the focus that he brought every day, and I always have a story back when we were actually in Hawaii playing in a bowl game, and he was redshirting. And I remember our last practice in the meeting with the quarterbacks, I kept watching him, and it was like he was playing, and he was completely redshirting. But that, I had never seen anyone bring that intensity to meetings, certainly at that age.
How have you seen the receivers bounce back in practice since the game on Saturday? And I think Monday it kind of implied that expanding the rotation wasn't really in the cards yet. Does this feel like maybe a week you might do that?
No, I mean, we're always trying to develop these guys. We got good young players there, and because a guy drops a ball, they're not getting yanked out. That's not how we do it. Because a guy throws an interception, we're not pulling him out. A guy misses a block, we're not pulling him out. Those guys feel bad about it as anyone. Did they work a little harder catching some balls and maybe focus more? Yeah, they did. And so, that's how we think about it here. The young guy, we still are trying to get those guys into the game, and when it's super tight games and you got experienced guys, it's hard to, sometimes harder than to push them in when you'd like to.
Bush talked about the red zone problems just kind of continuing in that game on Saturday. What are you seeing in the red zone that continues to kind of plague you guys a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit of self-inflicted wound. And like I said, I mean, if you have the same crew that you had the year before, you maybe make a little progress. But we're game 2 against a really good defense, and we obviously got some work to do there.
Obviously, when there's drop passes, those are going to show up. But from a route running perspective, getting open, getting separation, have you seen those guys make the progress you'd like at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably, I think probably everybody's seeing that. Those guys were open. So they got to do something to create space, and then we just didn't make the play, finish the drill, right? And so, I mean, I do think the group has improved. It's just an unfortunate time in tight games when you have guys, certainly in critical times. When you throw it, you're going to have drops. I mean, that's part of it. You just don't want to have that many at any one time or any one game.
Paying even more attention to the weather report this weekend?
There's not much I can do about it. So on Saturday, if it's rainy, I'll put rain gear on. And if there's lightning, we'll sit in the locker room.
Was there ever any conversation at all about playing that game on Sunday? Was that even remotely?
That came up for about 1 second, but it's like, where's Cal going to stay?
Right.
I mean, that wasn't going to be able to happen. That logistically, that one just didn't seem like. I thought maybe we should go to the indoor facility and just have the coaches and players go. I don't know if that's been done, but we were thinking about that.
Did you actually get to a point where you were considering, if we have to cancel it, here's how we make it up? Was that even no?
We knew it wasn't going to be made up if we canceled it. That's kind of what the word on the street was, that we were not going to be able to make it up.
Gotcha.
All right.